Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Tuesday, September 17th, the first day of a two-day Federal Reserve policy meeting where they are going to lower interest rates, I think, at the end of the day tomorrow. Well, actually, 2 o'clock Eastern time. All right, we'll talk more about that tomorrow in the next couple of days. But if you have a financial question, if you've got something going on that needs our assistance, well, why don't you get in touch with us? Just go to jillonmoney.com. That is our website. It's where all of our content lives. And you just click the Contact Us button. It's in the upper right-hand corner, wherever you are on the website. That's where it lives. The top right corner, Contact Us, write us a note, and check the box if you would like to join us live. It's so easy to do. So we encourage you to take advantage of that. See how easy that is? God. So great. Hey, Mark, I think it's time we got to do some emails. They do pile up. My God, you guys have a lot of questions and we want to get to those. So let me start with this one. This is from Mabel. If your name is Mabel, God bless you, because I don't know that many Mabels anymore. The subject is required minimum distribution. So Mabel writes, I am at the age where I must take a required minimum distribution from my retirement account. Now, I don't need the money to live on at the present time. I have purchased a couple of money market certificates. Are there other ways to invest the money and protect it for the future? Okay, so she says it's in a 401k. So the first thing I would think about is, do you really need to keep it in a 401k? You may want to put it into an IRA rollover. Once it's in an IRA rollover, then you can do a lot of different things with that money. Number one is you can take your required minimum distributions that you don't need and you can gift them to charity. Qualified charitable distribution, or QCD. That's one thing. The second thing is, once it's in an IRA account, you may be able to buy CDs in there. You may be able to buy short-term bond funds, maybe a little bit of stock. I mean, I don't know enough about you to tell you about what the allocation can look like, but once you're retired and you have to take your distribution, sometimes leaving the money in the 401k actually just kind of leaves you at the mercy of whatever options there are in the plan. So give us a holler back. Love to know what else is going on in your life and why you don't need that required minimum distribution. All right, this is from somebody in Dallas, Texas. Check this out, Mark. The subject, large inheritance a decade plus away. Okay. So I am 38 years old. My wife is 32. We have one child who's almost a year old, and we want to have at least one, maybe two more kids over the next 3 years. Our combined gross income has been around $200,000 to $250,000. This year, $225,000, as my wife will work part-time as a teacher. Only in the last few years did I start maxing out my 401k and then my wife's 403b. Our investments are Roth IRA, $150,000, 401k, his pre-tax, $400,000, her 403b, $45,000, emergency fund, $45,000, a taxable investment account, $70,000, $10,000 in a 529. And there is a house that is, they've got $175,000 of equity in the house, and they've got a mortgage of $280,000. Okay. Listen to this. My parents have a net worth of $7 million. They have mentioned that when they pass away, my mother is 70, my father is 72, they will divide the inheritance in half between me and my brother. When my last grandparent passes, I will receive this is in addition, I guess. When my last grandparent passes, I will receive an inheritance of somewhere around $500,000. I feel like I should divide my wife's 403b and my 401k 50 pre-tax and 50% Roth. If not, do even more towards the Roth due to this part of the inheritance and the 10-year rule. My inheritance from my parents is hopefully decades away. I know so many things can change. So am I too concerned with planning? And should I tilt more towards Roth? Any insight, feedback, suggestions? Appreciated. First of all, you're going to have a ton of money. And you know what? I truly believe that a Roth is your 100% Roth contributions is where you should be. And so if it feels hard to do that because all in one fell swoop, it will change your tax situation. I say rip off the Band-Aid. I think you're ready to do it. You're young. The money that is already in your pre-tax, so this almost $450,000, plus all the money that your parents are accumulating in their pre-tax, all this is going to be a tax deferral problem for you later in life. So I say 100% Roth all the time, right now. Get it going. And I think you're going to be happy you did that. Okay.
I would also, if I'm this guy or this person, I would talk to the parents. If they've already told them, hey, you're going to be getting this, maybe they can start gifting him some now, and they can just supercharge the 529 and let it grow.
Yeah, I mean, parents are young though.
But something tells me they can probably afford to do some annual gifts.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good idea. It depends like how they, you know what I mean? Like kind of depends how they feel about having that kind of conversation. So yeah, I like that idea also. All right. Edie writes, hi, Jill and Mark. I love your podcast. I have a really tough question about my 21-year-old daughter. Okay, here we go, Mark. We're ready. Me being the non-parent, let me make the decision on this. Okay. 21-year-old had an internship in Los Angeles this past summer, and I scrambled to find her an apartment and covered her living expenses while she was out there. I need help figuring out how to teach her to stay on a budget. I've asked her numerous times since freshman year in college to put half of her money away that she earns from her job into savings. She tends to be a clothing junkie. She eats out with friends a lot. My husband and I have about 12 more years until we want to retire, and we need to sock away money for us. She's draining us. I've talked to her about taking a budgeting course. I've also asked her not to spend on the emergency credit card I gave her during freshman year. There's always an excuse. Help. Oh, God, Edie, I've got one for you. So here's a question. It sounds like she's graduated from college, or, I don't think she's in school. It's just like she had this internship. And so now I would basically say to her, here's the amount of money that we will be giving to you over the next few months, and it's over after that. And now we're also taking away your credit card. This is what is called a secured credit card. You will have that. You will be able to, we'll load some money up on that. I mean, in some respects, you kind of have to just say, we're going to throw her into the pool. Is there anything, if she's not going to, the only reason she's not going to do it is because you're there. So I think we should have a game plan with her where we say, and I'd love to have you come on with her on the air, that we say, okay, here's how much longer this arrangement is going to last. Here's how it's going to end. Here's what you're going to have to do. Here are the resources. You're a smart girl. We figure you can take care of yourself. If you get into credit card debt, we are not here for you. And I would really try to give her this messaging sooner rather than later and lay it out. Mark, do you have ideas?
No, I'm with you. I mean, the daughter right now is the way she is. So I think it's on the parents to draw a line and be firm and not be enablers.
Yeah. And you don't have to be cruel, right? That's not in other words, from my perspective, like you can be very nice about it. You can say, this is how we're thinking. This is what, and here's what it's going to, but then you and your husband have to make a pinky swear with one another. And I think that is one of those pieces of the puzzle that's important. It can't be that like you're going to be the hard ass and your husband's going to be like, oh, but she asked me so nicely. Like you guys are on the same page. You sit down, you have the conversation. We lay it out. We say, okay, it's September. Here's what we're going to do for October, November, December. Here's the money that we have available to you as of January 1st. You're going to do this, 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 and this. And I mean, I'm hopeful that she's working because now that you said she had an internship. So I mean, there's a big difference between if she's in college still and she's not. But if she's working, then we can kind of cut her off. If she's in college, we'll give her another, 5 months till she graduates and we'll go from there. But I'm going to tell you something. This is a problem that will find a solution when she's on her own. And when she doesn't have to do it herself, she doesn't do it herself. So there's that. Okay. This is from Joe. who writes, "Hi, Jill. I'm a big fan of you and the podcast. My mother passed away earlier this year, and my stepfather, who I love dearly and who has been there for me almost my entire life, is suddenly in charge of his own finances for the first time in decades. He is 67 and he just retired. I really want to check to see if he's in good shape and if there is anything he should consider as he makes some big life moves and changes." Okay. He's trying to move near me, which is a high cost of living area on the East Coast, to be closer to a new grandson and regularly visit a granddaughter on the West Coast. That's a bummer. He plans to sell his home and rent in a 55 plus community. The rent will be about $2,500 a month. The house has about $133,000 left on the mortgage, and the market value is $650,000. So I don't know. I presume that he'll net between $400,000 to $450,000. He doesn't have any credit card debt, doesn't have many debts in general. He has a government pension, will be around $1,600, and his Social Security will be about $3,000 a month. He's covered under Medicare Part D. He has $20,000 in checking, a small annuity with $17,000, $30,000 in a money market, $97,000 in inherited retirement accounts. He has also reserved $8,000 for future mortgage payments, but he'll pocket that when he sells the house. That's his picture. What do you think? Is he in decent shape? What advice would you give him to make sure he is as comfortable as possible for as long as possible? Well, I mean, here's the good news. He's 67, right? And he is going to have his government pension and then his Social Security, and that'll give him this $4,600 a month. He probably can live on that. He probably can live on that for a while. All the other money that he has, including the proceeds from the house, the inherited retirement account, the money market, he shouldn't have to dip into that too much, maybe for a trip here and there. So my first recommendation is, because he is not used to managing his own financial life, is that he may want to consider working with a fiduciary financial advisor, because I'm worried that once he gets that $450 from the net sale of the house, that someone is going to go after that money and convince him to put it in an annuity or do something dopey. And we don't want him to do that. So I think getting an advisor, maybe with your help and maybe you sitting in on that, it sounds like you have a little bit more experience and comfort with the idea of personal finances. And my second piece of this is that he's got to really begin the process as soon as he sells the house, but even now, to start to identify what his expenses are. So if he does $2,500 a month for the rent, is there another $1,500 a month in other stuff? I'm guessing yes. So at $4,000, he should be pretty good. But if all of a sudden he starts taking a lot of trips to the West Coast and spending a lot of that money, that's where he's going to run into a problem. So do I think your stepdad's going to be okay? Yeah, I think probably. It would be nice if when he's in this 55 plus community, maybe he wants to do a little something to keep him busy. Maybe that would be a part-time gig would be good for him. I think that this is some of the things that he should be keeping in mind. And you're such a nice kid. Well done for that. Okay. Last question from Jerry, who writes, the basic question is this: isn't a Roth IRA open for at least 5 years better for liquidity than a brokerage account, since gains within a Roth would be non-taxable? Yes, it is. But for some people that they want to just have money where they don't have to worry about whether this account is open for 5 years or not, and they want to be able to put money into the Roth when on an ongoing basis, and they don't want to keep track of it. So it is not that it's better for liquidity. It is they're both liquid as long as that Roth is open for 5 years and you have liquidity. It's really just a question of tax efficiency, and a Roth is more tax efficient. Of course, if you have a brokerage account, you can take advantage of losers also, but I hope you don't have a lot of losers, and I hope that's helpful. All right, that is it. That is the show. We thank you so much for listening, and we always appreciate your comments and your questions. If you've got one, go to jillonmoney.com, click the contact us button, write us a note. And if you would be willing to come on the air, just check the box. Mark will do everything else. Don't forget to sign up for the free weekly newsletter. It comes out every Friday. And you can subscribe to the Jill on Money live service. That is where you have access to quarterly live webinars for 12 months. You've got video content. You get to watch the back catalog. It's $35 for a whole year. Our next webinar is coming up. It's next week, September 24th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 hour, Real Estate Palooza. We want you to be there. Gosh, so good. Okay, if you wouldn't mind, subscribe to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And do something nice for someone else today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.